Hi, you guys. It's Sariya from the newest season of Tough Love Co-Ed. I'm doing something a little different this week. Aside from my usual Facebook and Twitter Q&As, I decided to do a video Q&A as some of the questions that I get asked are a little hard to answer via text. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have quite a bit of questions this week. Ruben S. asked, they didn't show enough of you tonight. Your date review or anything. What's up with that? Well, actually, on this week's episode, when we went on the robo dates and we did the live auctions, I did really, really well. I made sure that I listened to everything that Steve said. I didn't disclose too much information. I gave just the right amount. I answered my questions correctly. I was very proud of myself that I did a better job than past episodes. But unfortunately, in TV land, that does not make for interesting television, so I was not shown that much this episode. But do not fret, because next week, Friday at 10 p.m., things start getting a little more interesting, so stay tuned. Danielle W. asked, how hot did that seat really get? In referring to episode 3. No lie, I had welts on the back of my legs for about 2 days. Immediately after my date, it shows me getting up off of the chair in pain, and right after that I made the staff go and grab me ice. And we go on our dates one by one, so when you're done with your date, you usually have to wait there for a few hours. So for about 2 hours in the van, I was icing my leg, and when I got back to the house, luckily Judy had coconut oil, and I put some on my legs, and I did that for a couple of days and it went away, but it burned me, like, no lie. I used a safe word about 5 times, and let me tell you, that seat never went down in temperature. It was horrible. At Joshua Save On asked, what kind of music do you do? For those of you who do not know, and they have cut all of that out so far in the show, I am a singer, and I've been singing professionally for 11 years, and I do R&B music, to answer your question. Feel free to, after watching this video, check out my YouTube. I do a couple of covers. Hopefully start doing some more, as I've been very busy lately, but check those out. Monica Ward, shout out to Miss Monica, asked what my favorite part of boot camp was. Honestly, we haven't really gotten to my favorite parts yet, and I don't want to give away any story, but let me just tell you that the things that I went through were the hardest things that I've ever gone through in my entire life, probably. I had to face a lot of inner demons that I didn't know were there, and I had to address a lot of very difficult things, but in doing so, I learned so much about myself, and I have grown as a person. And I don't know if I have a particular moment in boot camp. The drag queen thing was very, very fun, which will be in this new episode. But I think my overall experience just with boot camp and learning about myself and learning about the things that I do wrong in relationships in order to be a better person in the dating world, I think in itself was the best. So it's kind of a big answer. Seal Panda asked, do I like Siberian Huskies? And yes, I do like Siberian Huskies. Those are nice dogs. I myself have 3 dogs, but I have little ankle biter chihuahuas. But I love my dogs to death, and yes, Siberian Huskies are great dogs. Hey yo, it's Brett asked, I notice how people say they want to change, but it can be tough, right? Were you resistant to the whole tough love process in the beginning, or did you embrace the opportunity to change? For the most part, watching the previous seasons of Tough Love, I know that while Steve is hard, he has a method to the madness, and for the most part, he knows what he's talking about. Now, I knew going into it that I was going to hear a lot of stuff that I didn't want to hear, but I knew that it was stuff that I needed to hear in order to change. So there were instances, absolutely, where I didn't agree with him at all, and I put my foot down and just didn't want to hear anything that he had to say. But looking back at everything, there was merit to everything that he said. And while it was delivered in a very tough way, which I signed up for tough love, not soft ooey gooey love, that he had a good place and that he was coming from a place of genuinely trying to help us. So while at times the things that were said hurt my feelings or I didn't necessarily agree with, I know that it was in a good place. And so I was never really resistant to the change. There were instances where I maybe didn't agree with the way that he went about things, but looking back at it, I'm glad that I went through that. And I'm glad that I went to the Tough Love boot camp. Like, I didn't realize that I had so much wrong with me. I didn't realize that I was sabotaging myself, essentially, in all of my dating endeavors. So I wasn't really resistant, but I'm glad that I went through the process. Alex B asked, was this show scripted? Absolutely not. It sounds crazy because you see these people and we're all so completely different. We all come from different backgrounds and we all have different beliefs, and they're just totally, different personalities that maybe some people would think are fake. But let me tell you, the show is not scripted. It is, however, produced and directed. So obviously we don't come up with the ideas of our dates. We don't come up with the storyline, but all of our reactions and everything that we went through, everything that we said, that was all 100% genuine, authentic reality television. David B asked, so did you actually find love? Oh, still early on. We can't say that quite yet. We have about 6 more episodes, so you gotta tune in and see what ends up happening for me. J.E. asked, so was it a good experience doing the whole TV show deal? I kind of already answered that in one of the previous questions. I will say this is probably one of the most difficult things that I've ever done in my life, but it was one of the most eye-opening, life-changing experiences that I've gone through as well. So I hated it at times. It was very difficult waking up in the morning with a camera in your face, you're trying to eat your bowl of Cheerios, and there's a lens a few inches away from your face. It was difficult, and I wasn't used to a lifestyle like that. There's hidden cameras everywhere. There's hidden microphones everywhere. You do not have any privacy. Everything you do, everything you say is recorded and scrutinized, and it's put out there for the world to see. So it's a very frightening experience. But at the same time, it was probably one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. Sorry, I'm trying to go through these questions as much as possible. Mary M asked, so do you end up with Chris? Again, that's another one that I can't really discuss right now. I will tell you that the new episode on Wednesday will be showing a little bit more of that, but as of disclosing endings, I can't quite do that yet. Tyler H asked, how did you get along with everyone in the house? It was a little difficult at first just because everyone's personality is so dominant. And you need to understand there's 8 people from different backgrounds, different, very, dominant personalities thrown into a house with no TV, no computer, no phones, no electronics, an unlimited supply of alcohol, and we were literally like rats in a cage. So at times, I think almost everyone got underneath my skin at one point. But I will say that when it really comes down to it, I have lifelong friends. We all shared such a bonding experience that I don't think a friendship like that will ever be broken. So there was absolutely times where every single one of them got on my nerves, but I consider them family and I wouldn't trade them for the world. Dave E asked, someone posted Jessica on your wall. Is that your real name? What is your ethnic background? Oh my goodness. What kind of music do you like? Name a few artists. Do you think you will pursue any more TV shows in the future? And how many tattoos do you have? Alright, let's try to get to all those. Jessica, yes, my full name is Jessica Sariya Jones. but I choose to go by my middle name, just because Jessica is way too common, and I've always been like the 14th Jessica in a class, and just never really cared for that, so I go by Sariya. My ethnic background, I am Mexican, Irish, Cherokee, and Black. Mostly Mexican and Irish. My mom is Mexican. And I like R&B music, mostly like love songs, 90s R&B. I still listen to today's music, but if I could really choose, like I'm a Jodeci, Boys to Men, Brian McKnight, Robin Thicke, old school Robin Thicke, not no half naked girls in videos, Robin Thicke, kind of music. I like music that has soul to it and has feeling and emotion, and I feel like R&B music nowadays is cookie cutter and sugar coated, and I don't like that. Do I want to pursue any more TV shows? Of course I would. But I loved the experience that I had, and I felt that was a great opportunity, and if something else came along my way, I would absolutely take advantage of that. I have 12 tattoos all over my body. It's a lot to explain, and I'm already 11 minutes into this video, so don't worry, stay tuned on the TV show and you will learn all about them. Micah, she was on the first episode. I don't know if you guys ever saw on the speed date. She was the one in the cute little coral top. Shout out to my girl Micah. Asked, my TiVo went out and I've missed the past 2 episodes. I'm dying to see them. What do I do? Well, for all the people who do not have TiVo and miss an episode and can't seem to be at home when they have the repeats, no problem. Go to vh1.com, click on full episodes, and from there you can find all of the past Tough Love episodes. And also, if you click on I think it's toughlove.vh1.com, it will show you when the new episode's coming on, and it'll also give you a guide of any episodes about to be airing, like repeats. Jessica K asked, did the show provide you with clothes or tell you what you couldn't wear? Did you have hair and makeup people? This is actually a really, really great question. They did not provide hair. They do not provide makeup. We had to do that all on our own. We also did have to provide our own clothes. But, yes, they could tell us what to wear and what we could not wear. For example, if all of the girls were wearing black dresses, they would need to kind of switch it up a little bit. Okay, you guys all look like you're going to a funeral. Kyle, go throw on some colors. Sariya, put on something. You know what I mean? So they could direct us in certain ways. We also could not wear polka dots. We couldn't wear stripes unless they were like really bold stripes going across. But anything that was too small would actually distort the camera and make it look like you were like constant motion, so we couldn't wear that. When we were doing interview, the girls could not wear pink, the guys could not wear blue, as that was the color of the background. There was a lot of restrictions. You could not wear white at all because it would make you look like you were glowing, so whatnot. So yes, they did have control on what we couldn't wear and what we could wear, but they did not provide clothing. So let me tell you, a lot of the white stuff and a lot of the stripe stuff that I brought, it was sad that it just had to sit in the closet. 2 more questions. Joy, you little scoundrel, asks, is Steve gay? And have you ever been with a woman? So to answer your questions, no, Steve is not gay. He's actually been in a long-term 6-year committed relationship with the beautiful Madison and is happy as all can be. Yes, he's a very cute man and he likes to take care of himself. But don't get confused. He is straight as can be. And second part of your question, have I ever been with a woman? For those who do not know, I am bisexual. That's also been cut out of the show. I don't know if that's maybe a little too much for VH1 to handle. But no, sexually I have never been with a woman. I've had one girlfriend. It didn't work out. And besides that, I have been in long-term relationships with men. But my sexual orientation, I am bisexual. Last question, Mariah S. asked, I can't see you with that Chris guy. What do you see in him? And do you think Judy is coming back? Honestly, to this day, I have nothing bad to say about Christopher. He's a great guy. He was probably one of my best friends in the house. I still talk to him all the time. There was something about him, or there is something about him that just, his personality might be a little bit too much for certain people to handle, but as I'm a chatterbox myself, it never really bothered me how much energy he had. He was just always, I don't know, keeping me smiling, and I enjoyed his energy. And if you saw the very first episode, you knew I was the only one that gave him a 7 out of all the other 2s, because with me on our date, he was charming, and he listened. He never talked over me. He never talked down to me. And so I still can't say anything bad about Christopher. I don't know. He's a good guy. He's a little young for his age, but when it really comes down to it, he has a good heart, and that's what I saw in him. And do I think Judy's coming back? Honestly, I would understand if she didn't come back, just because, you know, losing someone that close to you, and she was very close to her grandmother, is a big deal. And if she took the time to really just stay with her family and was there to support her, you know, support them, I would understand that. Do I want Judy to come back? Of course I do. I love Judy, and I think that this experience would totally benefit her, and she already has a connection with Darius that I want to see, you know, follow through. So I hope Judy comes back, but I wouldn't blame her if she didn't. That is the end of the questions. The video is running a little long. Hopefully, you know, you guys come in with some more questions for next week. I know you guys are going to have a lot with this new episode. Make sure you check it out Wednesday at 10/9 Central on VH1. And if you absolutely, you know, just can't be home at the time, check out vh1.com, and you can catch up on all previous episodes and little bonus clips as well. So talk to you guys later. Keep bringing in the questions, and I will see you next week. Bye.